Recording time.
Recording time.
Support.
You ready?
Yep.
1.
It's all you need. Yeah, we'll try. I'm swaying no feet. Yeah, I'm swaying too. For me. Yeah, we'll try. No dancing away. Go on, honey. You're here to stay. Yeah, that's right. Swaying away. On screen. Hey, hey, hey. You got dancing. You got swaying on me. You got swaying too. High for me. You ever cried in a certain way? Crossing. Hey, hey.
Nice. I definitely muffed that one a little.
You're fine.
We can do it again.
I'd say it was fine.
I thought it was fine.
For this one, I'm gonna.
With live versions, you do you just do what you feel, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Swim in the.
Slim.
That's on the. Yeah.
And do I let you do one or two of those?
I go.
Do you like it with the sound with the plastic tips, or should I switch back to the other one?
It's all good.
You don't mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you ready?
Yep.
It's gonna get loud.
Oh, wow!
Wrong.
What's that?
I got the woo wrong.
Okay.
You ever tried?
I always forget the lyrics to that one.
It's about
What is it?
swimming.
What are they?
Try jumping off the deep end.
Yes! Okay. Let's do that. One more time.
You ever tried jumping off the deep end? Well, don't be worried. We're worried, my friend. You ever tried swimming away? Come on, sing. Hey, hey, hey. Uh-huh. Come on, lead. Lead me be.
Nice. Bit of a shorter version, but it's fine.
That was good.
Hola, mi
All
amigos.
right. It is Monday night, so you know what that means. It's time for the Nelson Family Radio Hour. Hello and welcome. And I'm joined, as always, by my cohorts, my boon companions, Henry Lincoln Nelson
Hello.
and Noah Maher.
Hello.
And before we get into it too deep, I just want to give a shout out to the Mayflies, as always, our house band, for the introduction to the show. And a little later in the episode, we're going to talk about specifically the two songs you heard at the intro, which are available now on this gorgeous vinyl.
On a 45 RPM disc.
But before we do any of that, we're going to jump right in with our special guest today. You were promised him last week, and here he is, Ryan Cheevers, with not Cheevers. I'm sorry, Ryan Skinner. I know too many Ryans. So I apologize. Yeah. Ryan Skinner with I was trying so hard not to fuck up the name of your business that I fucked up your name. So yes,
Understood.
Raw Sustainable Living.
Yeah.
I got that right.
Yep.
So Ryan, tell us about Raw Sustainable Living.
Raw Sustainable Living is a company that I actually took over last July, and what we do is produce worm castings. We produce worm castings using earthworms and a special feed and bedding mix, and I sell them. I'm a wholesaler, so I sell them to probably the closest place is going to be Veit's Greenhouse. They're one of my big purchasers. So, but the real benefit of earthworm castings is they're like a really high quality compost. They're going to be as they pass through the worm's gut, they're going to be kind of broken down and inoculated with microbes. And there's a lot more research going on into kind of the soils that are happening in our gardens and in our yards are kind of microbe deficient, and the microbes will actually help balance your soil and feed your plants, which is pretty cool.
So when you say wholesale, what's like the size of like the average order you fulfill? Is it like a pickup truck full or?
Yeah, usually I sell in 5 and 25 pound bags, and those are Veit's, I believe, carries both of those sizes. But yeah, they'll order about 50 bags at a time is kind of what I do, which is really nice because I also have a 9-to-5 job, so I can just on the weekends I can drop off a big pallet full of stuff and just.
So if someone just wanted like a bunch of unbagged worm castings for some sort of project.
Yeah. So right now, right, exactly. So we haven't really tapped into that special project category yet, and I think that we're working on ramping up production. And I'm always looking at ways to be a little bit more environmentally friendly. So doing some sort of bulk pickup will be in my future, whether that means bring your own barrel kind of thing, and I just do it by weight. But it is out of my home, so I tend to kind of shy away from it doing direct sales like that, so it's a little bit easier. At some point in the future, I really do want to have a more dedicated space that I can invite people to.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
And so with the worm castings, what is the advantage to using these as opposed to getting like the bag of soil that you may get from Lowe's or wherever?
So a lot of times the soils are going to have, most of them are just going to be made completely of peat moss, and maybe they have some things to just kind of lift and aerate, where the worm castings are going to be, they're not going to have a lot of fertilizer. That's a lot of people, when you're looking at your soil mixes, are going to look at an NPK value where I don't even mark it on the bag. It's pretty low. It's like usually around 1.8 for NPK rating, which for most people, like if you guys aren't in gardening, you're like, cool, that's great. Those are numbers. Some gardeners really care about that stuff. But the main benefit of this is really going to be the microbiology, and it will help with water retention. It will help with soil aeration. But usually it's kind of a mix in to your potting soil. So if you were kind of up potting a plant, or you're starting a new garden bed, you would use probably about a third worm castings with, you could use a store-bought soil or, whatever your preferred soil mix is. Some people like to mix their own. But using about a third of this is going to give you the most bang for your buck. You can even go down as low as 10% in your mix, and you'll still have benefit from it. Because microbiology tends to reproduce quickly.
Sure.
And as long as you have a good food source for them in there, they're going to reproduce quickly and really help feed your plants. Yeah.
So I had never ever heard of this until you brought it up years ago. It seems like you've been talking about this for some years, and so kind of tell me as high level as you want to go, or as in depth as you want to go, about what drove you to do something like this and why it's important for you to have this business and bring it to the area.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they, I like to garden, and I have been gardening since before my first son, so he just turned 12. So as soon as you start gardening, you start looking at like what are the inputs that you need, and like, you look at organic food as kind of like the upper echelon. Everyone wants to go organic. Right. If I'm going to buy food, I want it to feed my whole body. I want it to be wholesome. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure I'm feeding the plant, so it's feeding me. And that's kind of where this came from. That and my son has always been really into creepy crawly things. So, I was always looking for ways to compost. And composting is a magic within itself, right? You can take raw ingredients. You can take your food waste, and you can take like leaves, and you can mix it in a pile, and it's like, 75 degrees, and then like day 3, it's like 160 degrees because all the microbiology has started just going crazy inside of it, and it starts heating that pile up. They're a thermophilic, heat-loving bacteria that actually create their environment. They give off heat to make themselves more comfortable. So that'll get up to 160 degrees, and then you go out there and you will turn that pile to kind of lower it down because they'll start sterilizing everything in the pile. But then you get into wintertime, if you start loving composting, wintertime, you're still producing food waste, and I guess you could throw it out and just have it freeze and start to cycle in the spring when it all thaws out. But you can also do this inside with worms. So before the business, I started in July, we were doing indoor composting with worms in our basement, just as a way to take care of my fall flush of leaves. I can bring those in dried and bagged and shredded, and then I can mix that with our family food waste. And then in the spring, I've got compost to spread out. And it's not only just compost, it's worm composting, which is even more beneficial than a standard compost would be. Between my family's love of animals and the environment, it was just kind of a natural fit for us to go with worm composting. Plus, indoor composting, you would expect it to be smelly and weird and gross, but it's really not, because the worms consume the bacteria and the fungi kind of before they start making smells. And if it's done right,
there's no gross odor in the studio right now for the people without smell-o-vision.
Right. And I helped you move the worms when you first got them, and it literally just looks like dirt.
Smells like dirt.
Yeah.
Right.
If you got up close, I can't even smell it from here.
Right, it smells like soil with a little bit of that kind of earthworminess to it. So it's really nice to handle. It's clean. It feels. I'm addicted to touching it. It's like a sensory thing for me now. Like, we went to the Master Gardener show. I guess it's been over a month now, and I brought the bin because I didn't know what to bring. It was like, I'll bring a bin full of worm casting so people can see it, and I invited people to come and put their hands in it and stuff, and they really did enjoy how clean it fell off their hands, and like it felt soft. And it was like, just imagine what it's doing to your soil.
It's not like it's sticky, right? Like, there doesn't leave like when you dig into the dirt, you have just like clumps of dirt on you. So how many worms do you currently have?
My current...
that you're using for this, not you personally inside of you.
Well, the doctors haven't figured that out yet. There's many different species inside my body.
Maybe like the egg salad sandwich, Futurama worms.
Right.
I think I have more worm cells in my body than a human cells at this point. But no, jokes aside, I have about 35,000 to 40,000 worms, and the crazy thing is all those worms multiply crazily. I have a lot of cocoons that have been saving because I don't have the space to really have the hatchery yet. But in the springtime, when things warm up, my hatchery systems will be going, and it'll. Worms are hermaphrodites. So every time worms get together and hang out.
Now you got all these worms.
Got 2.
Do you ever go and? I imagine like most of them, you ever come across like one that's like really special? Maybe it's really big, or just has a personality. And are there any standouts ever?
There are. When I'm doing the process, like the whole process they're in these buckets. So
Ooh.
that is a production unit. That's where the worms spend their
And so there are
2-week
worms
cycle.
in there now.
Right, yeah. There's 250 worms, kind of 250, 275 worms.
Nice. That's a big old chunky
So-
guy.
Oh, yeah, there
That's
you go.
it.
There's some pretty chunky
That
ones.
one's got
Yeah.
a little personality
Yeah.
too, right?
So as you go through, you put these on a sifting table, and the sifting table will separate the worms from the castings. And as you do that, one of my main things I'm doing is looking for worm health, making sure
Yeah.
that they're big, they're healthy, but there's occasionally ones that is just like stupendous. Like it's
Yeah.
just gigantic, and it's
Sure.
big around and it's long. It's probably like,
Are you sure it isn't a
10 inches
snake
long.
disguised as a worm, like some weird cartoon?
Right, especially where you live now, right?
Right.
And so this is the castings, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so, how much is that in terms of the poundage right there?
That's probably a little bit over 5 pounds.
And so, out of a bucket, how much?
Probably close to that.
Really?
Maybe it would be a little less than that.
Okay.
Maybe it's 4 pounds that comes out of a bucket. And yeah. I mean, you can see too, like if you look at it, these guys aren't really fully all through their cycle. These been in here for only a week, so they've got about
Okay.
another week to go. But any of those really hard kind of clumps that look like turds,
Yeah.
that's the worm castings.
Okay.
So if they're in there for another week, they'll go through, and probably 80% of that is worm castings, and the rest of it will come fall off the line, and I'll put it into my hatcheries. So it'll get kind of used as a
So
material.
they do
that's
all
in
that
there.
without any reading material or a cell phone.
That's true.
That's I don't pity. I don't envy them at all. I mean, I couldn't produce that much without. Like, you at least give me a knife catalog or something,
Yes.
Where can people find you online, or if they want to ask questions or maybe try to place an order? What can
Right.
people do?
The best place is just email me at rawsustainableliving
At Gmail.
at gmail.com. Yeah. We don't have a website yet. We are still trying to keep up with production and haven't
Yeah.
really had time to sit back and think about the marketing side of things. The other side is just Facebook. Facebook is just the easiest place to talk to people. But I mean, I know not everyone loves it, but that's where I am currently.
Okay.
But I like to share things there. I like to look at the castings under a microscope just to kind of verify that there is microbiology happening in there. So I like to share the different things I find there occasionally, and kind of educate people on what each one of those things is doing for their soil. Just
That'd
so,
be
because some
kinda
people
cool.
are, some people are like, nematodes specifically is one of the things that people, gardeners, are worried about, because there are bad nematodes, but there's so many species of
even sound
nematode.
bad.
Right, nematode? What?
Yeah, that sounds like an 80s. That sounds
I
like
remember-
a gang that Ninja
I re- yeah,
Turtles
I
would
remember
face.
when
It's the nematodes.
that nematode gang came into
Right.
town.
I remember
Yeah.
a Doug episode that had, it was like the first episode, I think.
Yeah, Kaloo was the nematode call, right?
But yeah, nematodes have there's nematodes that eat bacteria, there's nematodes that eat fungi, there's nematodes that eat nematodes. So there's lots of different types of nematode, and what most people don't want is the root feeding nematodes. So usually what I'm finding in my systems are bacterial feeders, and it's kind of cool just to talk about, like, bacteria themselves aren't able to. So bacteria are cool because they've lived here forever, right? And they're adapted to really specialized, cool things. They can take nitrogen even from the atmosphere.
Wow.
And they can basically sequester that in their bodies, but that's not released until they're consumed by something. So the nematodes will eat the bacteria and basically turn those, or make that nitrogen that the bacteria sucked out of the atmosphere, make that available to your plants.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons why, like NPK, you're talking about the nitrogen. Maybe if you have like enough microbiology in your soil, that's not really as important
Right.
to add nitrogen constantly, because in a nice closed loop system, that's kind of being trickled in constantly.
Got it.
There's also phosphorus solubilizing, which is NP, the phosphorus. They can take phosphorus in the soils and they can solubilize it so the plants can use it as well. So bacteria can do a lot of magical things and lock it in their body. And then if you have the predators in the system to release that from the bacteria, then you're feeding your plants just in a nice, sustainable closed loop system.
Like you said, like it's like that closed loop. And so essentially, what you're providing for people is like it's almost like a living, like soil or
Yeah.
something like that will
Yeah.
keep providing, and so which is different than just a regular dirt. that
Right,
they
you're
would
not
put on.
looking at dirt.
Right.
Yeah, there's a very big.
Yeah.
Some people call it, dirt is dirt, but yeah, dirt is different than soil.
Yeah.
And yeah, living soil is a very good analogy because you are. I mean, our soils are full of life. And a teaspoon of soil has more species of animals on it than there are people on the planet.
Sure.
So like a living soil is right, and there's a big movement in creating living soils, and I'm always doing research to try to push the product into a deeper and further realm in that category. Right now, this soil is mostly bacterial dominant, and I'm doing a lot of research to try to, and not most soils right now are bacterial dominant because we've tilled them up, we've disturbed them a
Sure,
lot.
right.
So in a mature soil, a forest soil would be more fungal dominant. So what we're aiming to do is, I think most compost. I say poop a lot. Guys.
I saw a
produ-
Freudian slip once. Got all muddy.
Most compost producers now are definitely trying to get more fungi into the mix in order to help balance these kind of disturbed soils. So I'm looking into those things
That's
too,
awesome.
and things to feed that even further.
Yeah, and so just having known you for as long as I have, and I'm really excited to see where this goes, because I know this isn't just like, hey, I'm gonna buy this stuff and sell it and provide it for people. It's going to be something that's going to grow and
Right.
and continue to evolve, and so I'm excited to see that. So
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I was excited to do is connect this to something that I'm already really passionate about, and have a side gig that like I think matters in the world, right?
Yeah.
So that's really important. And the worms are great, and the soil is great, but educating people and getting them to connect back with soils, and that it's not really crazy to do.
And you can do this if you live in Chicago in an apartment,
Right.
right? You can use this stuff, right,
Right.
To grow whatever you need. And
Right, and
you can even have a
Whatever
compost
you
pile,
need.
right? Like, yeah.
You can do, right. Whatever. You can use it for anything. It doesn't burn your plants. It's not high nitrogen. You can use it on just about anything. I use it on my house plants. You can use it
That's
on
how
everything.
Hank got so
plants.
tall.
Right, right. House plants in your house. But yeah, I don't know what are you trying to say?
I'm not saying anything.
But yeah, I think that's hugely beneficial, because even if you are in an apartment, there's a spiritual side to this. To me, is like you can take the it's all about energy, right? Like
Yeah.
the solar energy coming into the plant, feeding your body. But then, if you don't use that, you can feed worms with it, and then you can take that and feed the plants at your park. So there's
Sure.
a lot of people that could, they could do indoor composting, and they're like, what am I going to do with all this compost if I don't have indoor plants or whatever?
Yeah.
Just spread it around.
Right.
Spread the love, and your plant, your community will get better,
Yes.
right? And your plants around you will get better. And I think that's
Absolutely.
really cool to be able to
Yeah.
to take care of the things around you. I've thought about like gorilla
Yeah.
worm pooping places around Niles.
Just
at
drop
one point.
in, like-
right? Just like in the middle of the night, dress in a ninja costume, just poop in
No,
the
you have to
pots.
dress
I,
it.
I
Well,
think people
no.
would lose their stuff,
You
man.
have to dress
can't
it.
just leave
no,
worms around.
you have to dress as a worm
Yeah,
ninja.
a giant worm with a newspaper.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I think if people would see that's what's up with the worms.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now that we've gotten to know about your business, now we need to know who Ryan Skinner
Oh,
is.
Ryan Skinner.
Yeah, that guy.
Um,
So Ryan, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie. So before even kids, I've always really, really enjoyed animated movies.
Okay.
Like constantly.
Uh-huh.
And probably one of my very favorites is Megamind.
okay.
Many
All right.
people don't really, I don't know.
That's like
I don't
Will
know.
Ferrell
Yeah.
and
Will
Tina Fey.
Ferrell
Yeah.
and Brad Pitt and I just the humor and Dave Cross, like I just love Dave Cross humor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And just for whatever reason, I can always sit down with Megamind and just enjoy a chuckle and just like I just really enjoy it. I like the comedy. I think maybe it's just the bright colors.
Okay, yeah, sure. That's for sure. What about your movie that you'll never ever watch again? Your least favorite movie?
That's a tough question to ask somebody. There's some shitty movies that
Yeah.
people are better off forgetting.
For me, the first answer is always Titanic. Fucking hate that
In
movie.
my opinion, movies that you won't watch in your least favorite movie are different.
Well, that's
Yeah, there's some times that you watch a movie
Right.
where it's like you one time through and was good enough, and it was a good movie. I think pretty much any of the Kubrick stuff that I've watched was like, that was a good one time through.
Sure.
I
Like
remember
Clockwork
my
Orange
dad.
could be, yeah.
Right. Well, no, I mean, it's really. I remember my dad taking me to see Eyes Wide Shut. When I was like a teenager. I was probably 17 because I think he was into like the
That
whole.
had been an awkward drive home.
Right. It was definitely one I would never watch again, but
Yeah,
it did
right.
raise a lot of interesting.
Sure.
That reminds me when I
ideas.
was working at the used bookstore. This guy his grandma died, and it was up to him to clean out her garage and her book collection.
Oh, geez.
And he brought in the whole 50 Shades series.
Oh,
Nice.
okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean,
Grandma, we
grandmas
hardly
are
knew
people
you.
Grandma, it's like,
Grandmas
oh.
are people too. They have flesh and
They
blood.
do, but there's men have at least the decency to keep that shit.
Jeez. All right. So, your favorite song?
My favorite song. See, my kids do this to me all the time, and they always ask me my favorite thing.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I just never
Well,
really
your
good
favorite
with
kid
it.
on the spot.
My favorite kid. Oh yeah, you knew. Which one of me? Which one of us is your favorite? Favorite song.
Today. Just today.
I
What's your
mean,
favorite song?
I feel
because
like
it changes,
it's-
right?
Well, and there's always songs that you come back to. Drops of Jupiter by Train.
Okay, okay.
I really like that.
Sure.
A lot of Coldplay stuff.
Okay.
A lot of Regina Spektor and
Oh,
Nora
wow.
Jones
Okay.
stuff.
Nice.
Stuff that is quirky.
Yeah, yeah.
We're always singing in the house, so
Sure.
there's so much music that kind of passes through us.
Yeah. And so you play guitar, correct?
I play a guitar. I play on a guitar. I play with a guitar.
You play with the guitar.
Yeah, I know a good 7 to 9 chords,
That's-
and I can't play them quick enough progression to play actual music, because I just can't. And I actually injured my finger a few years ago, and it makes it even more.
Oh, that's right.
difficult.
I forgot about
That's
that.
A saw blade accident.
Yeah.
So that makes it harder to transition from chord to chord. I still think I'm going to. I moved on to try to pretend to learn the piano.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask my
yeah.
next question. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
try to learn the piano. Try to pretend to learn piano. I'm doing pretty on that.
Yeah.
The pretending and to learn.
So what's your favorite? I know you were a like a musical guy, like a thespian. What's your favorite play?
Plays. I really.
What was the favorite one you were in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Urinetown is probably my
Oh,
absolute
and that was
favorite.
that was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean that was my second run through it.
Okay,
That's,
okay.
I played in Benton Harbor at the Twin City Players, or at the Ghostlight actually.
Yeah.
I was in that one, and that was I was filling in a role because they needed someone quick, and because I had done the show, it was
Nice.
easy to jump into. But I also done it in Three Rivers, probably 2009 or something
Yeah.
like that. It's been a while.
Kids.
Kids.
Family.
So our kids are getting older, and we're hoping to get reintroduce some more performance. Also, when you have time away from performance, you just do a lot of introspective stuff
Right.
that's maybe not super healthy.
Yeah.
You're like, man, why did I ever even do that? Was it just all for the attention? I was like,
Yes.
there's praise and reward systems. I have to like reward. I didn't have enough confidence, so I had to pretend
Yeah.
to be other people. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of weird
Well,
mental stuff
sure.
that happens, but I
get
really
that.
do enjoy it, and
Yeah.
I really think that I've seen some people recently trying to open some new live theaters, and I'm excited
awesome.
to see what happens.
Yeah.
I think we'll get back into it at some point.
So what's your favorite shirt?
My favorite shirt is probably either this one that I'm currently wearing it's pink with pineapples.
Pineapples, blue pineapples.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I have a Wall-E shirt. But I
Oh.
really, animated
Yeah,
movies, like
sure,
I said, I have a
sure.
Wall-E shirt that has Wall-E and Eve and recycling symbols on it. So it's pretty awesome.
All right. So any dad jokes for us?
This one is what was the most remarkable invention?
The dry erase board.
Yes.
Was that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Remarkable. Yes. Yeah.
Dad joke.
It was actually.
This is what happens with two dads. They have a dad
You know
off.
that only hits somebody if they have a precise lack of sleep over years and frustrations and like that's their humor.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So, anything else you want to say about the worms, or you've been called a genius on the chat for your knowledge of microbiology and worms, just so you know. So
I do not claim to know everything. I claim to be. I think the main benefit, and I think everyone is really hard on themselves. I want everyone to just realize that we're all on this kind of a lifelong learning spectrum, and I think the fun of life is always just what else can I learn, and whether it's worms or whether it's biology or whether it's a new craft, I just love to learn, and sometimes that means admitting I don't know things, and there's plenty about this that I don't know too.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's great. Very more intelligent words than I could have said on this show today. And with that, we're going to throw to a man from 1960 who's going to swim with some fish. Here is another episode of Diver Dan. Ryan, thank you.
Thank you.
You did it.
Below in the deep there's adventure and danger. That's where you'll find Diver Dan. The sights that he sees are surprising and stranger than ever you'll see on the land.
The wicked Baron and Trigger are hiding in wait to snatch up the gold in pieces of 8. Skipper Kipper's unaware, now ready to leave. Will Dan get there in time, the gold to retrieve?
That skipper is still guarding the gold in that old ship. I'm scared. You think we're safe here? You're scared? I don't want a triggerfish who's scared. But, shh. No buts about it. Stick with me and you've got nothing to worry about.
Yes, Finley, it's a lovely day and everything is fine. But you can never trust the Baron. He's always a menace.
Ready now? When I give the signal.
Minerva? Oh, here comes Seabiscuit. Something's wrong.
The Baron is attacking Skipper. He must be warned. I'll call him by magic telephone. Calling Skipper Kipper. Skipper Kipper.
Minerva's calling on her magic cell phone. Yes, Minerva, what is it?
The Baron is after the gold. Skipper, quick, close the porthole.
Curses. Minerva has warned him again. That magic telephone is always getting in our way. Well, thanks to Minerva, that warning came just in time.
Hey, boss, why don't we steal a magic telephone? Then we, say they couldn't warn the other fish.
The Baron failed again, but he's a wicked one. We better make sure Skipper is safe.
Careful now. Watch for our chance.
Miss Minerva, even though the porthole is closed, the Baron is sure to force the door open. And as long as the door can be opened, there's danger.
You're right, Finley. What should we do?
I have an idea. Let's nail it closed.
Careful now.
You get it, boss.
I told you to call me Baron repeatedly.
Oh, yeah, Baron, repeatedly. I have an idea how we can nail a door closed. Let's call the hammerhead shark.
Good idea. I'll call him now. Oh, no.
Huh? Oh, okay, Baron, you fool.
Oh, dear. Well, what can we do now?
We need help. We've got to get the telephone back.
What happened to it?
Who stole it?
I wonder what we should do now. The seahorse says that Diver Dan is coming down near the sea ferns. Well, maybe he can help.
Oh, good. I'll ask him. Oh, Dan, Minerva's magic telephone has disappeared. We don't know what's happened to it.
Well, I'll try to help. But first we must find out what has happened to it. Someone must know.
It was beside Minerva's throne. We were talking and it disappeared.
Someone must have seen what happened.
Oh, I don't know. Wait. Maybe old Gabby the clam could have seen. I'll go ask him. Gabby, it's Finley. Tell us what happened, Gabby. Please. Please tell us. Miss Minerva, you can make Gabby talk. We're sure Gabby the clam must have seen what happened to your magic telephone, but he won't talk.
Old Gabby will always talk for me.
Oh, please tell us, Gabby.
Gabby, tell us what happened. Who took the telephone? Please, Gabby. Gabby, please tell us.
Baron. Did you find out anything?
Oh, yes. Gabby says the Baron took it. Well, that's all he told us. But he must have it in his hideout. With you along, we're not afraid of the old Baron. You've got your knife.
Hurry, Finley. We must catch him. Now Minerva can't warn the others. The fish won't dare come in here to get the telephone. If they do, they are in for a big surprise.
Dan and his friends move on to the cave to strike at the Baron and trigger the knave. Miss Minerva's unhappy, overcome with despair. Can Dan regain her telephone from this wicked pair?
He moves among creatures of frightening features, flashing teeth, slashing jaws, flapping with snapping claws. He protects and he saves his friends under the waves. That's where you'll find Diver Dan.
All right, Diver Dan. At it again. That was episode 8. Thank you for joining us on our Diver Dan journey here, part of our collaboration with Retro Strange, retrostrange.tv, for all of your, what should we call it?
Retro,
Strange.
obscure retro,
Obscure.
the classics you haven't seen yet.
Yes, there you go. I
It's
like
the
it.
old stuff you haven't seen yet. Because how many
Streaming.
times can you watch Back to the Future? How many
Right.
times can you watch Teen Wolf?
Yeah.
Or movies that don't have Michael J. Fox?
Well, that's
We're-
two of my favorites. But so yeah, streaming 24/7 online, retrostrange.tv, the streaming service that picks for you, so you don't even got to worry about
Yeah.
it.
Just sit back, relax.
Yeah.
It's curated. It's
Yep, and you can also, while on Retro Strange, you can check out Divergent League Baseball, which just started its newest season. We're taking the 1999 baseball season and putting a little twist to it. So for more, go to retrostrange.com.
And we're in the preliminaries of branching out into other media too. So watch the space, especially if you're a comic book or sequential art fan.
Yep. Retrostrange.com, Retrostrange on Facebook and Twitter, and Twitch, maybe.
I think we're still on Twitch. We were on LinkedIn for the last online movie night.
Okay.
I thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. We're on Roku. I guess we're up in triple digits on Roku installs now.
Nice. Awesome.
So if you have a Roku, or you have a older family member that has a Roku and likes old stuff.
Yep.
We don't have not just sci-fi horror stuff. We have vintage educational films, vintage safety, and all sorts of things.
Yep.
It runs the gamut.
Yep, absolutely.
Like vintage, like gardening.
There might be.
Probably getting there some.
Yeah.
We have. We actually have a couple agriculture livestock things on there.
All right.
Yeah, so there we go.
One about
Stay
chicken
tuned.
farming.
We also,
You
Retro
wanna know about
Strange,
chicken farming?
reach out to Retro Strange if you have any requests for things like that, and they'll do their best to find it. So I want to turn it over to Hank now. You saw the Mayflies at the top of the show with the introduction there with their musical act, and they had 2 songs that they played.
Yep.
And Henry, I'll let you take it from there. Are those 2 songs and how people can listen to those songs now?
Yes. So those 2 songs were Dancing and Swimming, or Swimmin'. So, but we are very excited to announce that we are on a 45 RPM record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Recorded at On Base Productions in downtown Niles.
The
Hank,
undisclosed location.
Hank on the guitar and Jess on the drums.
Yeah, let me give you the back.
Yeah. And honestly, I have to say, I love the cover design. It's got that evergreen style that it could be a 60s record cover, it could be a 90s record cover. It's got that kind of timeless look to it.
I chose this font specifically because it looked like it was the 60s, actually.
Right.
Yep, so there you go. And so kind of just tell us a little bit, Hank, about those songs, maybe the inspiration.
They're not too special inspirations. It was just me playing something on guitar and then just trying to stay up all night trying to find lyrics for it.
Awesome.
But, yeah, I've had these songs. I've had these songs for about, like, almost a year, I think.
Uh-huh.
Since summer last year, I've had Dancing at least. So that's been a while in the making. At least for me, that's a while.
Well, I mean, so who are your inspirations musically in general?
Well, in this record, you can definitely tell my guitar is definitely influenced by Jack White and just 60s music in general, or just old blues songs. And you can just tell, not tell, but definitely influenced by the White Stripes a lot for this thing. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I don't even think I can come up with too many words for it. But it's on beautiful colored vinyl. If you can, I'm gonna get this one since I don't want to.
I use the adjective snazzy. Snazzy pop art style.
Is it a dad joke if I say it is groovy?
I believe it would be.
No, I think that was super special to have a vinyl created because, you know, just about any schmo can burn a CD. Maybe it's a little harder than it used to be to find CD burning stuff now, but yeah, to have it all in vinyl is super cool.
Or even just release it digitally, right?
Yeah.
Right. Anybody can put it online.
Speaking of that, this is never going to come out digitally.
This is you can only get this on analog.
Yes.
These versions of this song are only available on analog. So yeah, you can find these at On Base Productions in downtown Niles, Michigan.
Yep.
There's only about 8 left, I think.
Yeah, about that much.
We had a little bit of a pre-sale that was, I think, a little more
people bought them than we thought.
Than we had originally anticipated. So for this run, there's only 8 left. So if you want them, you better come.
They're
get
more coming soon if you want, though.
Yes, absolutely. And what's next for the Mayflies after this? This release, this single, what's next after for the Mayflies?
Well, hopefully we're gonna play some live shows soon, which is exciting. We haven't got to play one since I don't know last time we were
fall. I think.
Yeah, last fall. Yeah. Open mic nights down at the Node.
Yep.
And yeah, next single probably around late summer, early fall. So keep a lookout for that.
Awesome.
And hopefully a record next year.
There you go, like a full-length LP, huh?
Yes, a full-length LP, maybe even a double album if we get.
Whoa, a double album. Woo, man.
It might be. I don't know for sure. We have so many songs that we want to do. So
Yeah, hey, just keep cranking them out, man. That's awesome. And so we'll hear the Mayflies again at the end of the show. But that's awesome. Congratulations, Hank. Congratulations, Jess. Congratulations. Thank you to the Mayflies for continuing to be a part of the Nelson Family Radio Hour.
Yeah, but not just leaving and being like, we're
right,
bigger than
exactly,
this now.
Right. So yeah. Anything else, Noah? Anything on your mind? It's been
Really?
it's kind of been a crazy 2020.
Has anything been going on lately?
Noah,
Has anyone found some sort of catalyst to overreact?
Noah, have you got any news on that murder bird?
The murder bird? Not yet. We're working on the murder bird, but I was researching, and of course, last night I was just finishing up Spider-Man: No Way Home, and which was good. I liked a lot.
Yeah.
I liked how they were. How they were able to give Willem Dafoe that costume.
Right. Yeah.
So I get a text, and I hadn't remembered that the Oscars were on last night because I don't watch the Oscars.
Right.
It's this supercilious, people. A ceremony where people give awards themselves, basically,
Yes,
right?
sure.
Or basically they have all their friends vote, and of course everyone has to lose their shit when a man sticks up for his wife.
Yeah.
And when a comedian took stuff too far. Honestly, I mean, he should have told that joke. Chris Rock should not have made fun of someone with a disease that causes hair loss.
No, I agree.
I mean, it's he did a movie called Good Hair, and and what really bugs me is this shouldn't be the exception to the rule when someone talks crap about your wife.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that debate with Rubio and Cruz.
I was just gonna say, if only Ted Cruz.
Was Will Smith supposed to pellet Ted Cruz in that situation?
Right.
Was he supposed to pull a Rubio and let someone badmouth his wife on stage with him in the room?
Right. Yeah.
But of course, now there's this official inquiry. They are assembling the Blue Ribbon Committee to look into this thing that took all of 3 fucking seconds.
Well, hold on. But also, so let's take a step back. Who decides on the color of the ribbons of the committee?
Well,
is there a gray ribbon committee?
Well, when you say blue ribbon, it's just traditionally blue ribbon is the top.
Yeah, but still, are there other? Can you work your way up to the
call it
blue
a blue
ribbon?
ribbon committee because you're trying to get that Pabst endorsement.
That's what I was thinking. Thank you. Of course, Pabst Blue Ribbon available at Niles Brewing Company. One of the few spaces in downtown Niles open on a Monday night, along with Pizza Transit. I was negligent in my duty. Today's episode brought to you by Pizza Transit, which we get every Monday.
And Niles Brewing
Company, which we get every Monday. And we sampled some of the worm castings when we were watching Diver Dan. Tastes just like bacon, let me tell you.
Yeah. So the other thing is,
and I've never felt better.
Yeah. But it's just one side that Hollywood just needs to get their shit together and get reasonable. Because other thing, before I came here, I was researching, reading about the Will Smith, Chris Rock, and honestly, you gotta kind of give props to Chris Rock. He took his shot, pop in the mouth like a big kid.
Yeah.
Didn't go berserk about it.
Right.
Took
Well,
Will Smith could have knocked him on his ass. Will Smith has action movie physical trainers.
Chris Rock's obviously somebody who's been punched in the mouth before.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's used to that. Yeah. He had to show everybody hates Chris. So yeah, he's used to that.
He said something he shouldn't have said and got paid in the mouth.
Right.
It just happened at the fancy party.
Right.
It happened at everybody's fancy party that they. And it's just they need to get their shit.
So,
well, the other thing is, I was researching that and I came across this article. They're casting for another Batman show without any Batman in it. And this one is Batman's dead, and it's everyone except Batman. They literally the 4th or 5th Batman show without any Batman.
Yeah.
And it's give us they treat him like he's red meat. And if we have him every week, we'll have a heart attack.
Well, no, I saw an interesting. There was an interesting graph I saw on Twitter to where they somebody took when the first Batman movie came out with Adam West.
Okay.
And then the one came out with Michael Keaton, and then the ones came out. And he said so by this point, I think it was in 2065, it was maybe 2065 or 2165. There'll be a new Batman movie every 15 microseconds based on that chart. So
I wish. You know what? I was telling Hank about Sturgeon's Law. And Theodore Sturgeon, the sci-fi writer, famously said at a convention, 95% of science fiction is crap because 95% of everything's crap.
Yeah.
And if you really want the good Batman, we need 95 shitty Batman before we get 5 good ones. So
Except
let's get
for raw sustainable living, 100% crap.
Yeah, it is 100% crap, guaranteed.
The exception that proves the rule, people.
All right, speaking of crap, I told you I wasn't going to do, you told me not to do this, but I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to throw to a thing that my brother Phil produced for this, a game show. It's an all virtual, I don't know, virtual reality? Augmented reality?
He actually tried to put Batman into this.
Did he?
And
All right,
so he's like a little more cutting edge than Hollywood, I guess.
Yeah, so so the Open CV, it's a game show. It's a game show for tech people, specifically. If you're really into AI and
it is the future, people.
Yeah. So this is a game show for you. Everybody's filmed in a different location, and they're all brought together. And the result is kind of mind-boggling once I actually watched it. But so this segment specifically of the game show is called Wrong Answers Only. And I would have gotten wrong answers only if I were on this show. So let's see what the OpenCV game show has to. I think it's OpenCV AI. I don't know. I got Ryan's name wrong too. So here we go. OpenCV game show. Wrong answers only. Let's see what we got.
Now it's time for Wrong Answers Only, where you and the audience decide which contestant gave the best response. Visit opencv.org/game show to vote for your favorite. This image was generated by a method called VQGAN plus clip. What is the name of this rare and majestic animal?
What do you think that image was, Kieran?
Storm bunny.
You think it's a storm bunny? I was gonna call it Hyper Bunny.
No, it's called the Storm Legend bunny.
Okay, are you sure? That's what you think it is? Okay, all right, we'll go with that. It's, I guess, final answer, gonna go with Storm Bunny for this.
No, it goes Storm Legend bunny.
Storm Legend Bunny? Okay, all right, we'll go with Storm Legend Bunny. Sounds good.
So what kind of animal is that? Well, first, it's not an animal, it's a GANimal, and GAN stands for Generative Adversarial Network. And so, few people know this about me, but I'm actually an expert in small mammals. We hang out all the time. But that animal specifically, you can just tell by the coat and the orientation of the eyes and it's just general habitat there that is a nightmare rabbit. There's no second guessing what that animal is. It's a nightmare rabbit.
It's a misty Tuesday. You're out on your nightly scavenger hunt to ensure you have sufficient subsistence for the rest of the week. Above, in the clouds, could it be the rare, the majestic, the Kafka-esque? It is. It's the Ganosaurus rex. You can't take it down for its sheer beauty. It's 2043. You take off your metaverse licensed headset. You return to bed. The name of the creature is a Ganosaurus rex.
So who gave the best wrong answer? Cast your vote at opencv.org/game show. Next week, we'll announce the winner, and their charity will receive $500 more thanks to the generosity of our sponsors at Intel.
Nice.
Hey, all right, so there you go. Check out, I don't know when the next game show is. There was one last Thursday. You can go check that out on their LinkedIn page, probably.
Or the OpenCV website, imagine would have the information.
So OpenCV you can find on LinkedIn and Facebook, I believe.
We could put Phil's home number up on here, and they could just call him.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be a great idea.
Phil, should we put your number on?
Yep. Oh, he said, sure, yeah, go for it. He's trying to hook up anyway. So,
just show up to his place. The back door is never locked.
Yeah, bring Popeyes. Bring Popeyes you have to bring the Cajun sparkle though. It's not a euphemism. It's the thing you actually
His back
sprinkle on
door
the
is
chicken.
never locked. He's a deep sleeper.
That is a euphemism. That is a euphemism. His back door is never locked. With that, we're going to have the Mayflies play us out again, and we will see you next Monday. Have a good one.
This is hardest button to button by the White Stripes.
The hardest button to button.